Part 40. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 392. Chapter 392, Explanation, First Update. Looking at the time, it was almost 9 o'clock. Hians was worried that Xiao would see the Cheng family. Xiao, we have to leave. His selfishness was clearly expressed. The old man's face was full of reluctance. He really didn't want Xiao to leave, but he also knew that his son and Xiao had a grudge against their mother, and he had selfish motives to prevent Xiao from knowing about it. The father and son should not see each other if they can't see each other, and they should not recognize each other if they don't recognize each other. He has nothing to regret. Let's go, Xiao, remember to take the things away, the old man ordered again with red eyes. Then he looked at Hians. The old man didn't know his identity, but judging from their clothes, he probably had a pretty good fortune. Xiao thought I'd leave it to you, the old man said with a grateful face. No need, he is my son. After saying that, Hians took Xiao and left the ward. I don't know if it was fate, but when they were about to go downstairs, they met Cheng Jianjun coming upstairs. But there were a lot of people living here, so Cheng Jianjun didn't think much about it. After nodding, he went upstairs first. Xiao looked at the man's back, and for some reason, he felt very angry. Xiao, let's go. Hians didn't want to get into trouble with the Cheng family at this time. Dad, Xiao was a little depressed. Let's go. Sitting in the car, Xiao held the key in his hand. Dad, let's go find Mom. He wanted to go over and see what his mother left for him. Of course Hians has no objection to this matter. Okay, let's go pick your mother up from her store. There is only the last work left in the store, and I can leave even if Xiaoxiu arrives. After picking up Mei Shui, Hians drove away according to the address mentioned by the old man. Xiao, do you think your mother will leave you a lot of money? Mei Shui teased Xiao. Xiao looks very bad. Mom, don't make trouble, our family is not short of money. Xiao was speechless. Could his mother make the joke funnier? Who said our family doesn't lack anything? You know, you and your brother are going to have wives in the future, so there is plenty of money to spend. Mei Shui rolled her eyes at Xiao. It's better to be gold, so Mom doesn't have to worry about you marrying a wife. Mei Shui didn't treat Xiao as an outsider, even if it was a thing. She also meant to say it belonged to the three brothers. Mom, do you think we will have to spend family money on marrying a wife in the future? Xiao was proud. Good boy, that's right. From now on, you can marry your own wife. Your parents won't be able to find a wife for you. Hians was happy. Dad, it's still early. How old am I? How old are my brothers and the others? It's too early to worry. What's the matter? People of your wife's generation got married when they were 15 or 16. Hians joked with a smile. Hians wasn't too familiar with the terrain here, but he had a clue and finally found the courtyard. The yard is very dilapidated. If all the doors were not locked, some people would believe it was a haunted house. Xiao, go and try and see which door can be opened. The old man only gave one key, but there are many doors here. Oh, there might have been some expectations before, but now, Xiao is very calm. After trying 2 or 3 locks, he finally opened it. Dad, Mom is here, Xiao shouted happily. I saw it. Hians glared at him angrily. Keep your voice down. Opening the door, there was a lot of dust inside. When the wind blew, it made my whole body uncomfortable to breathe. How many years has it been since this place was cleaned? Mei Shui asked with some misophobia. Let's go out first and let the wind blow before we go in. The smell inside is really bad. The three of them waited in the courtyard for a long time before going in again. But there were very few things in the room. At first glance, there were only a few large boxes. Mei Shui opened the box closest to her. Inside was not the gold she expected, but a lot of books, calligraphy, and paintings. Mei Shui is not interested in these things. Counting, There were only 6 boxes in total. The box Xiao opened was the smallest, and it contained the most precious things, all of which were antique jewelry. Xiaoxiu is even less interested in these. The box Hians opened was the largest, and it contained some porcelain, but he didn't recognize any of it. Xiao, it seems that your mother's house was nice before. Needless to say, these must be some dowries. I opened 6 boxes in a row and found not a single piece of gold, but a lot of antique calligraphy and paintings. Xiao, keep these things for yourself in the future. There are a lot of these porcelains in Mei Shui's space, even in the hole in my hometown. They were all found in the cave. Hian's mouth twitched. If we don't have any money to spend in the future, just selling these will be enough for you 3 brothers to find wives. Well, they are indeed a couple, they have similar ideas. Xiao was speechless. He couldn't find a few words from his mother, but even if there were any, the old man wouldn't dare to leave them to Xiao. Let's go, let's move the things to the car. Fortunately, the car is big enough to put down 1 or 2 boxes. Xiao and I will come back later and move the rest. It's impossible to take them all away at once. Mei Shui has no objection. Xiao must keep these things by himself. But they can't put it at home. They can put it there after the yard in Haoerhei is renovated. Anyway, after moving there, they will have a room each, so they don't have to worry about having no place to put their things. After receiving his mother's things, Xiao's heart slowly calmed down. The Cheng family also experienced its last grief. Dad, are you really willing to let go of your son? How can you bear to leave me like this? Cheng Jianjun cried very sadly. No matter how sad he was, Mr. Cheng had also completed the last journey of his life. Some old friends came over to see him for the last time, and they felt very uncomfortable seeing Cheng Jianjun like this. Xiao's identity has finally been concealed, and Cheng Jianjun himself may not even recognize his eldest son. Mr. Cheng passed away in the afternoon. The funeral of the Cheng family was very grand, but it was a pity that Mu Yun couldn't find the thing she had been thinking about even after rummaging through the house. After the old man was buried, the Cheng family also faced eviction because Cheng Jianjun's position did not meet the qualifications to live in this compound. Fortunately, the Cheng family has some wealth. They don't dare to think about the Kyoto compound, but they still have a house. On the day the old man passed away, Xiao did not go to see him off, but after he was buried, Hians took Xiao to see him off for the last time. The matter with the Cheng family is over. The He family also returned to peace. Mei Shui's store has also been renovated and its opening is on the agenda. Wang Jiajia came to Kyoto anyway. Mei Shui was very unhappy about her arrival. No, Mei Shui didn't even show a smile after receiving her. Remember to vote. Please give me monthly votes, please recommend votes, please give me tips. Thank you all for your tips, thank you dears. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 393. Chapter 393, Gu Family Incident, Second Update. Didn't you say Sister Lele is coming? Mei Shui felt resentful. Wang Jiajia rolled her eyes at her. Why, you don't want to see me so much? Are you afraid of being compared to me? This Wang Jiajia is really unsatisfactory. Mei Shui's hands were itching terribly. Okay, I won't tease you anymore. Lele is not free. She has an exam soon. You don't know about her, brat. Her grades are really deplorable. It is also sad to have a hopeless son. Xiaopeng and Xiao exchange phone calls on weekdays, and Mei Shui also knows some about Xiaopeng's situation. I told Sister Lele to send Fatty to Kyoto to go to school, but she refused. It was Xiao who was afraid of Fatty, and he broke out in a cold sweat when Xiao stared at him. Learn with Xiao until you are good enough. Once the two of you are separated, haha. She really wanted to, but would Wang Lianjai be willing, with such a son, of course he had to keep it in front of him. Mei Shui understood this very well. Okay, let her go. By the way, there is a lounge on the second floor of the store. If you don't want to stay in the hotel, you can stay in the hotel. Mei Shui had already prepared it there. Can Wang Jiajia wrong herself? Of course not. Forget it, I'll stay in a hotel. I'll use your name to stay at the Intercontinental Hotel. How luxurious it is. Wang Jiajia has really changed a lot. As long as you're happy. After all, they were good friends, so Mei Shui just said she disliked him. Okay, we'll open tomorrow. Come on, give me a smile. Wang Jiajia's memory is no longer good. Mei Shui's death gaze. Well, I'm afraid of you. If you can't come tomorrow, don't come. Fortunately, she brought her own capable men. With the arrival of Wang Jiajia in the beauty salon, Mei Shui was finally relieved of her burden. I won't come, but you can't leave everything to Sister Lele in Shenzhen City. You just happened to bring Xiao Mei here. From now on, I will leave it to her here. There is also a laboratory in Shenzhen City, and there are some things who Lele is doing. Indefinite. If you tell me, of course I know, but I'm not in a hurry. Wang Jiajia had a plan in mind. It means mouth flowers. During this happy day, Hians received a phone call. What did you say? Hians was shocked when he received the call. Brother Gu, don't worry, I'll be back soon. Yes, it was Gu Ji who called, but he called for help. Something happened to the Gu family. Hians handed over the matter at hand to his subordinates and drove back immediately. Mei Shui happens to be at home these days. What's wrong with you? Why are you in such a hurry? Mei Shui asked with a worried look on her face when she saw Hians running back sweating profusely. Xiaoxiu, pack your things quickly. We'll go back to Mingcheng right away. It was only a while, and Hians didn't have to say too much in a hurry. Meixiu knew that something must have happened. What are you packing? Pack it up and leave quickly. As long as you bring enough money, there is nothing left to pack. Hians was stunned. He was stupid. Let's go. Something happened at Guji's house. He could not even think of calling him to beg for help. Mei Shui really didn't know what could happen to Guji, a police officer, but she didn't dare to delay and hurriedly left home with Hians. Let Xiaobai watch over you at home when you leave. It is definitely not in a hurry to take the train back to Mingcheng. Fortunately, there is a plane, but it is just more expensive. After buying the tickets and waiting, Hians told Mei Shui what Guji had called him. After listening, Mei Shui sighed. It's not easy to be a public servant. If you are not careful, your family will be destroyed. Those gangsters are also brave and dare to openly confront the police. Who says it's not the case? We are only doing one thing this time, which is to pick up Brother Gu's son. We should not interfere in other matters, Hian said worriedly. But Mei Shui doesn't think so. There are a few good people among those people. When the time comes. About 3 hours later, the plane to Mingcheng landed. After getting off the plane, the two went directly to the freight station and drove a car. Xiang Yang was still very excited when he saw the two of them coming back. It could be seen that after their serious faces, Xiang Yang didn't ask any more questions. He just said, "Come and have a meal when you have time." The Gu family has visited Ans many times, but this time they wanted to take someone away secretly, so. Xiaoxiu, how about we come back later? Hians asked worriedly as he watched the people coming and going. Meixiu was speechless. Have you forgotten what you are capable of? Are you still afraid of these people? They don't live in Mingcheng for a long time. If they offend, they will be offended. Who is afraid of whom? Being reminded by Xiaoxiu, Hian suddenly realized, yes, how could he have forgotten this? It seemed that there were too few opportunities to take action at this time, which really made him forget his own skills. When the two got out of the car, the Gu family was already surrounded by a group of people from society. Those inside can't get out, and those outside can't get in. There are police, but there are too few. What are you doing? What are you doing? Hians pulled Mei Shui and pushed the person in front of him away, trying to squeeze in. Give me a moment, let us go in, Hian said very politely. If you can't help it, don't take action. But Mei Shui is different. She has been in this world for so many years, and her hands have already become very itchy. Looking at those young people acting so rampantly, they started taking action without saying a word. This move is too big and will directly cause trouble. As soon as Mei Shui and Hian saw each other, they immediately sped up their men's actions. In less than 20 minutes, everyone here was taken care of by the two of them. Who are you? The police shouted when they saw the two. Meixiu was speechless, but she saw an acquaintance, sister-in-law Gu, and shouted to the person behind the police. Gu Ji's wife was startled. She knew this voice very well. She raised her head and looked up, crying and laughing, "Quick, let them in." So the place surrounded by the police made a way. But when Mei Shui and Hians walked by, they were stunned. What's going on? They saw an old man lying on the ground. It was none other than the old man of the Gu family. He was not in good health. He was transferred today, but unexpectedly he was surrounded by people. After working as a policeman for a generation, he finally found himself surrounded by society. But before Mei Shui and Hian said hello to the old man, a sad cry came from beside the old man. "Dad!" It turned out that the old man fell to the ground and died during the siege. The person who yelled was none other than Gu Ji's eldest brother. Aunt Gu was startled and immediately walked to the old man. When she saw the people on the ground, sister-in-law Gu also felt sad. Remember to vote. Please give me monthly votes, please recommend votes, please give me tips, thank you all for your tips, thank you dears. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 394. Chapter 394, The Gu family's children leave, third update. Dad, why did it become like this? She didn't expect that the old man would leave like this in the end. The gangsters who fell on the ground quickly organized and left after seeing this scene. Mei Shui and Hians looked at each other, and both saw anger in each other's eyes. Sister-in-law Gu, let's send the old man home first. Everyone is dead, and it doesn't matter whether they go to the hospital or not. So, Hians and Mei Shui began to help the Gu family deal with the old man's funeral affairs. And Gu Ji is still too busy to leave. This time the crackdown on gangs, drugs, and was very intensive. Not only did Gu's family receive such treatment, but the families of several other leaders were also harassed by these people. All the Gu family's power is in the police station, and there are not many people who can trust them to take care of their families. So Gu Ji finally begged Hians. By the time Gu Ji came back, the old man had been buried, but he knew it was not over yet. Brother, let Gao Ji and the others leave together. He had said it before, but his eldest brother did not agree. Originally, Gu Gang wanted his children to go to his in-laws' house, but now it seems that it is better not to go. Okay, let's see to the arrangements. Just don't make things difficult for your friends. He wanted to avenge this. Hearing that his eldest brother agreed, Gu Ji breathed a sigh of relief. Okay, I know, don't worry, eldest brother. Since the decision was made, Gu Ji immediately made arrangements. He really wanted his daughter-in-law to go with him, but the daughter-in-law didn't trust her parents' house, so she had to go back to her parents' house to keep an eye on him. Gu Ji felt very guilty about this. The situation was similar for Gu Gang. After telling his daughter-in-law, Gu Gang started to prepare for them. Of course, you are a sister. You must keep a good eye on your brother when you arrive in Kyoto. You can keep the money, Gu Gang said to his eldest daughter very reluctantly. Gu Gang has a son and a daughter. His daughter is 17 years old this year. Now is the critical moment of her senior year in high school. Something like this happened and she had to take leave and leave Ming Cheng. As for his son Gu Jiaja, he is 15 years old and is also a high school student. However, he is still in his first year of high school and it is not a big deal to ask for leave. Gu Jiaran reluctantly nodded and took it. His mother went to her grandmother's house after her grandfather was buried. She could understand her parents' current mood. She will not be disobedient. Only by leaving can her parents feel more at ease. Don't worry, Dad, I will definitely take good care of my brother. Gu Jiaja doesn't have the temperament of a rich second generation. Although he is usually more arrogant, he is also a sensible and good boy. Dad, don't worry, I will definitely protect my sister. Seeing how sensible the two siblings were, Gu Gang no longer had any worries. It was even simpler for Gu Ji. Gu Jiaxuan was already familiar with his sons and the others. As soon as he heard that he was following them, Gu Jiaxuan started packing his things without saying a word. This incident gave him a great stimulus. If he was at home, he would cause trouble to his parents, so he felt relieved following Uncle He. One more thing, he had to learn his skills from Uncle Gu this time. He knew that Uncle Gu's martial arts was very good. The two of them did not delay in Ming Cheng, and immediately left Ming Cheng overnight with the three children of the Gu family. The departure of the children made the entire Gu family quiet. They are the only two brothers left in the Gu family. Both Gu Ji and Gu Gang are both very light. Brother, I'm going to the police station. Gu Ji took a deep breath and extinguished the cigarette. Let's go, I have to go to the police station too. He Ans no longer paid attention to what happened in Ming Cheng. He only hoped that Gu Ji's family would be safe and that all the police officers' families would be safe. After arriving in Kyoto, due to the arrival of three children, the family could no longer fit in. He Ans moved directly without saying a word. Even if the courtyard is not finished yet, it is not uninhabitable. At worst, we can live in it while pretending. The sudden move of the He family alarmed several old men. When they arrived at the He family, they saw the three children of the Gu family. Mr. Zhao knew the Gu family and immediately asked what was going on when he saw them. He Ans didn't hide it from them. If these people took action, I think Gu Ji and the others would get rid of those moths faster. He Ans told several old men what he knew. When the old men heard that Mr. Gu died in this incident, they were all very angry and started calling his house without saying a word. This is also the result that He Ans wants to see. After Gu Jiaran and others saw these actions, the three of them stood up and bowed 90 degrees to the gentleman without saying anything. But everyone knows what they mean. Good boy, get up quickly. This is what they should do, but they can't accept such a big gift from you. Grandma Xiu and Grandma Lin immediately pulled the person up. Grandma He sat aside and did not move. It was not convenient for her to talk about these things. MRS They also followed Xiao and called them MRS. But it's okay to call her MRS. Okay, good boy, don't cry, don't cry. Seeing the children crying, the two old ladies felt sour in their hearts. I finally finished the phone call and the children stopped crying. Ans, please don't interfere in this matter, Mr. Sun said aloud. He was actually kind-hearted, fearing that if he Ans and the others used his connections because of the Gu family, it would be bad for them to be stared at. Don't worry, Grandpa Sun, I'm sensible. He is a good citizen. Mei Shui was still obsessed with it, because she just wanted to do it herself. The last fight was so exciting. Xiaobai seemed to sense the violence factor of his master, and immediately stopped him. Master, please stop thinking about it. If you make a move, do you believe that you will be sent directly in by these old men? Of course, Xiaobai also said this to scare her. Mei Shui is not stupid, how could she believe it? Come on, Mei Shui thought, Should she find a chance to fly back and be a good person? The old men went back after eating at his house. The three children gradually became familiar with each other in the He family. Xiaoran, you are in your senior year of high school now. It's not like asking for leave all the time. Let me hire a teacher for you. Hians knew how important studying was. And Gujaja and the two have nothing to do with each other. It just so happens that Xiao and the others will be on vacation soon. Of course Gujaran is willing, but, would it be too much trouble for Uncle He? Seeing her like this, he knew what she was thinking. What's the trouble, you kid? Hians was still very soft-hearted towards his daughter. As soon as he heard about the makeup lessons, Xiao Cheng's eyes lit up. Dad, why don't you send Sister Ran to Grandpa Wu? Grandpa Wu is very bored at home. Grandpa Wu didn't come here today. Xiao Cheng's words were an inspiration to Hians. It's true, your Grandpa Wu's level is still very high, and it's more than enough to teach a high school student. Remember to vote. Please give me monthly votes, please recommend votes, please give me tips. Thank you all for your tips, thank you dears. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 395. Chapter 395, Relatives Get Together, 4th Update. No one else knows what Xiao Cheng has in mind, but as his elder brothers, Xiao Yu and Xiao Peng know it very well. Dad, I think Xiao Cheng's grades have declined a bit recently, why not let him accompany Sister Xiao Ran? Xiao Peng immediately started to trick his younger brother. Mei Shui glanced at Xiao Peng, her eyes full of smiles. I think you can all go. It just so happens that your Grandpa Wu is in good spirits. As soon as Mei Shui opened her mouth, the matter was settled. So, Xiao Peng and Xiao all glared at Xiao Cheng. Only Gao Ji and Gao Xian, who were unaware of the situation, did not know the reason. But these days in the He family, they are living at ease. As a sister, Gao Ran proposed to pay for food the second day after she came here, but when she took out the money, she was hit by Mrs. He. The old lady brought a large bundle of money from the house and asked her if she wanted it. If so, she would take it from here. Gao Ran opened his mouth and didn't know what to say. The three children have finally settled down. They are still worried about things at home, but it is useless to worry because the phone at home cannot be reached. It's better to stay here peacefully and wait for their parents to pick them up. Because Xiao Cheng came up with a good idea, Mei Shui specially brought him a chicken drumstick in the evening. Xiao Cheng was so scared that he was eating, his eyes kept looking around, fearing that he might be tricked accidentally. After dinner, the children played together. Xiao and Xiao Peng took Xiao Cheng to the backyard. Gao Ji and the others didn't understand, but they followed them. Gao Ran was very sensible and stayed to help Mei Shui with some simple housework. Mai Xiu originally didn't want her to do it, but her grandma stopped her and told her to let the child do it, otherwise she would feel uneasy. So Mei Shui followed her. Xiao Ran, when you go to study with Mrs. Wu tomorrow, can you help your aunt bring something to Mrs. Wu? Mei Shui took out a wine jar from the kitchen cabinet. There wasn't much, only about 2 kilograms of wine in it. These were the health drinks that Mei Shui asked and went for, but she secretly added a little space water into them. The effect is much stronger than what Wen and others sell. She usually keeps these wines at home to entertain guests. Now she is giving them away just to compensate the old man. Okay, Auntie, I'll take it over tomorrow, Gao Ran responded with a smile. The little girl is very good looking, full of heroic spirit, a typical daughter of a police family. She also has a very straightforward temperament, and such a girl is popular wherever she goes. Over in Mingcheng, due to the intervention of the old men, the arrogance of those people was also suppressed, but some people were finally able to escape. No one can guarantee whether these people will come back again, so the protection of their families dare not relax for a moment. Mr. Wu was very relaxed at home. He was very happy to see so many people coming over. When he saw the wine in Gujaran's hand, he was even more happy. When Hian said that he wanted him to tutor his children in their studies, the old man immediately agreed. Isn't he just a senior in high school? As long as I'm here, I will definitely let this kid get into a good university. The old man was confident. Hians believed in this. Then it's Grandpa Lao Wu. Why are you being polite to me? The old man rolled his eyes. It's just that I have to talk in class. As you know, when people get older, their mouths dry up quickly. Yes, this is still the virtue. Don't worry, Xiaoxiu has already made arrangements for this matter, but he said that you can only drink 1 glass of wine a day at most. Hians didn't understand what the old man meant. When you finish drinking here, tell Xiaoran and ask her to bring it to you. Gujaran is not stupid. She won't comment on the wine, but can what the old man likes be bad? I feel very grateful. With the addition of 3 children, the He family has become very lively. The Chinese New Year is getting closer and closer, and Xiao and the others are on vacation. Mei Shui and Hians are afraid that Gao Ran will be alone there and speechless, so they directly pack up and send all 6 children there. The happiest one among them is Grandma Xiu, who can't get enough of her. There is no other way. Her grandson is not around, otherwise she wouldn't be so lonely, right? Xiaoran, stop writing, come here and have something to eat. Among the 6 children, Xiaoran is the most diligent. Grandma Xiu is so distressed. It's okay, ma'am, I'll finish writing in a little while. Having been here for a month, Gujaran has already become familiar with the old lady. You kid, why are you so disobedient? Stop writing and come here and eat some fruit. Your Aunt May sent these to you. The old lady was more direct and took away Xiaoran's pen, leaving her without a trace. French writing. She even complained a lot about her wife. Why did she have so many homework assignments? The little girl looked tired. Outside the yard, the old man's shouts could be heard inside the house from time to time. You bastard, stop here, I won't slap you today, the old man shouted angrily. How could Xiao Cheng dare to stop? It's not my fault, why are you hitting me again? Xiao Cheng said, very dissatisfied. Humph, who else but you would kill my fish? It turned out that the old man raised a lot of fish in the yard, and when 1 or 2 died at first, he thought it was because it was too cold. But as time passed, he realized something was wrong. Let alone the big ones, they are living very well, but these little ones have a white belly from time to time, and the fish scales are also injured. This is man-made. It wasn't me. Xiao Cheng dared not admit it even to death. He was not the one who killed the fish. It was obviously his second brother who gave the fish medicine. He was just helping his second brother catch fish. Xiao Peng trembled, looked at his younger brother, and mouthed 3 words, Xiao Fufu. Xiao Cheng is so angry. This is not the first time such a scene has happened. Gao Ji and Gao Xian have become accustomed to it and will not step forward to explain. Because they also know what's going on with the fish. At worst, they can just buy a few when they come over tomorrow. Mr. Wu's life at home can be said to be chaotic. But people like this kind of excitement when they get older, and the 2 of them also enjoyed it. After the opening of beauty salons in Kyoto, business has stabilized. There were only a few days before the Chinese New Year, and Wang Jiajia had to rush back to Shenzhen City. Mei Shui almost set off firecrackers for her departure. Angry Wang Jiajia screamed and said that she would stay at Mei Shui's house for 10 days and a half during the New Year. On the 10th day of the 12th lunar month, and Wen and others came over. They came here mainly to say goodbye. They are going back to their hometown this year. Grandma, do you have anything to take back? And Wen asked the 3rd grandma while eating. Grandma, he shook her head, there is nothing to bring. When you go back, help me buy some softer cakes in the town and give them to you, Grandma Jinghua and Grandma Men. Even if they give too much, they won't be able to eat it. Remember to vote. Please give me monthly votes, please recommend votes, please give me tips, thank you all for your tips, thank you dears. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 396. Chapter 396, Busy, 5th update. There are not many people of her generation in the village who are close to her. She is younger than her and she dares not buy them but also dare not eat them. Okay, Anwen nodded in agreement. Do you want to bring anything else? He asked again. No need, Grandma, he shook her head, but don't bring too many things to us when you come back. We don't lack anything. Migzu was speechless the whole time. Grandma still had the same temper. She was really a child. Don't worry, everyone in the village knows how to do it, and when and others all laughed. When he arrived in Anshan, he had a look of regret on his face. He really wanted to go back, but his wife really couldn't leave here. Originally, her mother told her to come over, but when she got there, her old habit relapsed and she couldn't use her waist anymore. So there are only the young couple and their children here. Anshan, if you two are speechless, come and live here. It's fun to live at home. Anshan's wife is not from Kyoto, but her mother's natal family is in Kyoto, but her mother also has grandchildren to take care of, so she can't come. Anshan's wife had nothing to do about this. When she gave birth to the baby, it was thanks to the help of sister-in-law Shuang and sister-in-law Mei Shui, otherwise she would not even have a bite of hot food to eat. I can have this. Anshan was not polite to his family members, so he agreed immediately. So his wife felt a little embarrassed and secretly pinched Anshan's waist. Anshan screamed in pain. Everyone was also amused by the young couple. Daughter-in-law Anshan, don't think too much. We are all family members when we are away from home. You don't have to think so much. You just treat this place as your own home. After all, we have had little contact with each other, so we are still a little unaccustomed to it. If it's both, I don't need to mention it and I'll come directly. That's right, there's no need to be polite to Grandma. Anshan and others now call the third grandma Grandma. And Liang looked embarrassed. That is, when I get a wife, I will still get married here. A second-rate person will always be a second-rate person. He can't change it, and he can't get rid of the water in his head. If you dare to get married here, I will accept it, as long as you are not afraid of your mother strangling you to death. Grandma, he agreed immediately. And Liang behaved now. And Cheng is very honest and doesn't speak much. Anyway, he will be criticized for anything he says. He might as well eat more. It's been a long time since he had the food cooked by his sister-in-law and grandma. But when it comes to marrying a wife, and Liang Anken, you are not young anymore. You have to consider this matter. Don't tell the old woman that work is important. If you don't get married, Xiao will have a family. Grandma He's face was filled with disgust. The person involved, Xiao, looked confused. Madam, if you talk about Uncle Anliang, just talk about them. What are you doing to me? As Gu Jiaja, who is older than Xiao, is even more afraid to speak out. It's not that little girls wrote him love letters when he was in school, but when it was Xiao Cheng, he said shamelessly, Uncle Anliang, it doesn't matter. You can get married when I get married. Then we will get married together. As soon as these words came out, everyone bent over with laughter. However, En Liang suffered 10,000 points of damage. How old are you, little brat? Do you have a girlfriend? En Liang asked. Who knows? I do. Xiao Fufu said that she would be my wife when she grows up. She said this to me herself, Xiao Cheng said with an arrogant look. Everyone knows Xiao Fufu, even Gu Jiaran and others who joined later also know Xiao Fufu, because she is often talked about by Xiao Cheng. You brat, can you wish me a better life? And Liang was angry. Look, even Xiao Cheng has a girlfriend. As for you, you can't find a partner. It's embarrassing, Grandma, he said, as if she was afraid of killing An Liang. Grandma, do you need to do this? Don't worry, I will definitely marry a wife next year, An Liang promised. What a pity, who believes it? This man is very talkative, no girl would like him, that's enough. And Cheng is not much younger than An Liang. He has been reducing his sense of existence for fear of being missed. It's a pity that there is a cousin who cheats on his brother and I can't afford to get hurt. You can't keep talking about me, and Cheng doesn't have one either. Yes, so the two of them were directly criticized. After getting together, it's time to say goodbye. And Wen took his wife and children back to his hometown, and An Liang and An Cheng also went back, but they didn't know if they would be forced to get married when they returned. The atmosphere of the New Year in Kyoto is very grand. Grandma He and Mei Shui have been shopping for New Year items these days, and several little ones at home are also helping to deal with the New Year items. The yard was finally completed before the Chinese New Year, and all the furniture and other items were purchased directly. If you are not satisfied, you can change it later, but now you can only make do with it. Mom, can I invite Xiao Fufu to play at our house during the Chinese New Year? Xiao Cheng has been playing like crazy these days. After Xiao Cheng became familiar with the Wang family, he always looked for opportunities to play with Xiao Fufu. Looking at his attitude, it seems that he really plans to raise a wife for himself. Yes, you can invite your classmates to play at home when the time comes. Mei Shui is very supportive of children's social interactions. She still understands that it is difficult to walk alone. Xiao, Xiaopang seems to have said that he will come to our house to play during the New Year. Remember to tell your dad when he comes and ask him to pick him up. Mei Shui seemed to remember that Xiaopang said this last time. Xiao raised his confused head. Mom, when did Xiaopang say he was coming over? He didn't seem to remember saying that. Mei Shui opened her mouth, and finally glared at him. Chinese New Year, can you stop playing with those things and stay with us? Xiao and Xiaopeng have been working on their hemostatic drug recently, and it seems that they are almost successful. Oh, okay, Xiao responded with some reluctance. Xiaopeng looked at his elder brother and gave in. Looking at the eyes of the two brothers, Mei Shui was numb. I'm too lazy to pay attention to you. Remember to prepare your own gifts early. This year, I have to go to a few wives to pay New Year's greetings. The Chinese New Year is getting closer and closer, and every household is getting lively. The He family is new here, and some people who have been here for a long time don't know them. Grandma He is a good person, so during the Lava festival, she sent lava porridge to all the houses around her house. Etiquette is not important, what matters is the intention. So she got to know a lot of old men and women. I have to say that the old lady in the family has the best life. She has a good sister today and a good nephew tomorrow. On New Year's Eve, Mei Shui and Hians also prepared New Year's gifts for the old men. Sent it over when I was 29. Every family also has gifts in return. Of course, the Zhao family and the Shi family both send New Year gifts. For them, etiquette only represents closeness, rather than benefits and status. It's very casual to get along with him. Of course, Mei Shui's family also met Mr. Shi's son, Shi Zongguo, a soldier, for the first time. He had stayed away from Kyoto due to the turmoil in Kyoto in the past few years. It is now developing in the Northwest District, and I heard that it is developing well. This time I came back to accompany the old man, and it was rare to see him on weekdays. Shi Weiken also accompanied his father here to give New Year's gifts. He hadn't seen Grandma He and the others for a few days, and it felt like 3 autumns had passed for him. Shi Zongguo thanked them for their care for his old father and Weiken's help in business. The gift is not light. Remember to vote. Please give me monthly votes, please recommend votes, please give me tips. Thank you all for your tips, thank you dears. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 397. Chapter 397, Happy New Year. Of course, the Zhao family is not bad. Qianziang is so good at making money, and the New Year's gift he sends is not only the most expensive, but also the most appropriate. On New Year's Eve, everyone goes back to his own home and eats at his own home. This year is the He family's first year in Kyoto, and with several children from the Gu family, it's been a lively life. It's a pity that while everyone was in a good mood, Xiao was also remembered. I don't care, I won't leave until those things are found. Facing the people who came to notify them, Mu Yun shouted with a look of reluctance. Cheng Jianjun, who was sitting next to her, had a face as dark as the bottom of a pot. That's enough, isn't it embarrassing enough? He also wanted to know where those things went. In the past, those things were in the hands of the old man. He only knew that the old man wanted to leave the things to Chen Yu, but Chen Yu had disappeared long ago. The old man couldn't find it until he was about to die. It was impossible for the old man to give those things to him, so the things were still hidden. Let alone Mu Yun not wanting to leave, he was not willing either. Director Li, please give us some grace. The old man left suddenly, and many things at home were not arranged at the moment. As soon as we make arrangements, we will move out of the compound immediately. At this time, Cheng Jianjun hated the old man. Why didn't he help him and raise his status a few steps higher, so that he wouldn't have to leave the military compound in such shame? Director Li, there was a thief at our house, and a lot of things were lost. Mu Yun's mind changed. If you, Director Li, are in a hurry, please help us find the thief. Director Li is a middle-aged man in his 40s. He is in charge of the logistics in the military compound. There is an order from above to have the Cheng family move out of the compound as soon as possible. He respects Mr. Cheng very much, but for these two people, he is also one of the insiders about what happened back then. The Li family is not as good as the Cheng family, but they still know a lot of things. Looking at the dark-faced Captain Cheng, Director Li smiled and said, in that case, let's wait until the end of March next year. There is no way, there is a shortage of housing here. Those who can come here are all of high status, and it is not easy to offend them to death. It is still no problem if they are given an extra month. Then I'll trouble you, Director Li. Cheng Jianjun had to smile with a dark face. No trouble if the property lost is large. I think it's better to call the police before leaving. Director Li didn't forget to stimulate the two of them. Call the police, how is this possible? The two of them sent Director Li and his party away thoughtfully. As soon as they left, Mu Yun fell down on the fine mahogany chair. Jianjun, do you know where the old man usually hides his things? With so many things, we can't make it easier for outsiders. Cheng Jianjun looked at his wife. It had been a long time since he had taken a good look at her. Looking at the well-maintained skin on her face and the wrinkles appearing in the corners of her eyes, he slowly saw another face through her face. However, that face is much younger than the face in front of me, but the color of the two is still incomparable. Otherwise he wouldn't have. Check it out. It's one thing for Cheng Jianjun not to let go of those things, but it's another thing in his heart. I don't know if it's because he's old and nostalgic, but he doesn't want to keep any of her things. Humph, I definitely want to investigate. It's best not to let me know who did it, otherwise, she, Mu Yun, is not that easy to bully. Others are celebrating the new year at home, but the couple are running up and down because of the missing things at home. Cheng Jianjun's leave is about to expire, and he is facing a return to the army, which means he doesn't have much time. At the end of March, it happened to be when his vacation expired. The reason why he was able to get such a long leave was firstly because the old man passed away, and secondly because he had to move out of the compound, so his superiors only gave him half a month more leave. Mu-Yun was more concerned than Cheng Jianjun. After they moved out of the compound, they had to follow Cheng Jianjun to his military area. You must know that no matter how good the place is, it cannot compare with the Kyoto military district. But no matter how unwilling she was, there was nothing she could do. Cheng Jiabao was sent to his parents' home, and the couple devoted all their attention to leaving Beijing and searching for the lost property. In the first month of the year, people went everywhere to pay New Year greetings, and the two of them were looking for someone to help find the old man's lost property. Externally, they said that the old man left suddenly and did not explain everything at home clearly. Those who know the situation don't know why the old man left so suddenly and clearly sober. No one with knowledge came to help. We cannot blame them, but they really looked down on Cheng Jianjun and his wife. On the third day of the first lunar month, Hians took his family to pay New Year's greetings to the old men. Forget about the first and second day of the Lunar New Year. The son goes home on the first day of the Lunar New Year and the son-in-law comes to the house on the second day of the Lunar New Year. They have no choice but to go on the third day of the Lunar New Year. The first person I went to was Uncle Shi's house. Uncle Shi has been very busy these days. Except for having his son send New Year's gifts, he has never been seen again. Uncle Shi and Mr. Zhao both live in the military compound. I came here just in time to pay New Year greetings to the two old men, and in the afternoon I went to pay New Year greetings to Mr. Sun and the others. The time arrangement is very good. Mom, why are there so many people holding wooden warehouses here? As soon as they entered the compound, Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng looked surprised. They have only seen that thing on TV. When he first went to Wang's house, Xiao Cheng was focused on Xiao Fufu and never paid attention to these things. Mixu only took a glance at it and found that the thing, gun, was very old, and she lost all curiosity. Because they want to protect the important ministers of the country, Mei Shui still admired the old man and his generation. Who in her world has such a majestic heart? For the sake of the country and the people, forget it, everyone does it for himself. After discovering that their mother was not in a good mood, the two stopped talking to their mother and directly focused on their amiable father. Hians did not dislike his children and helped them to solve their doubts. It took almost half an hour before their car was released. There is no way. There are too many people coming and going today, so their private car must be subject to the most stringent inspection. Hians is not dissatisfied at all about this. While leaving, he also gave some food to the people standing guard. Happy New Year everyone. The things are not expensive and are all made at home, so it's just a good gift for them. Not far after the car drove in, it faced a second inspection, but someone had been waiting here for a long time. Brother He, sister-in-law, you are here. The person who came was none other than Shi Da's eldest grandson, Shi Weiken. Hian stopped the car and asked, "Why did you get out?" He opened the door and got out of the car, all in one movement. "Of course I'm here to pick you up. Grandpa has been waiting at home early in the morning, and he asked why you haven't come over yet." Facing these familiar relatives, Shi Weiken had more smiles on his face, and his smile was so hard that. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 398. Chapter 398, Be Normal. Uncle Shi, Happy New Year, may you get rich. Xiao Peng Xiao Cheng rolled down the window and immediately greeted Shi Weiken with New Year greetings. Seeing the three people working behind him, Shi Weiken smiled even more happily. Get rich, and you all have a happy new year. I wish you success in your studies and good health in the new year. After saying that, Shi Weiken took out 3 red envelopes from his pocket. The 3 of them smiled and took it. Thank you, Uncle Shi. Okay, don't stand here, let's go in quickly. Mei Shui interrupted their conversation with a smile. Mei Shui was not used to the people coming and going here. Not to mention those people who were watching in the dark, Mei Shui was very guarded. Hian certainly knows what Mei Shui can sense, but he is stronger than Mei Shui and can restrain himself better. Okay, get in the car quickly, we're going in. Hians patted Shi Weikan twice and said. Shi Weikan got into the car and squeezed into the back seat with Xiaopeng and others. Some people passing by turned their eyes this way. Who are these people thinking about? Why did the parents and grandchildren of the historian come out to pick him up in person? One thing I have to say is that Grandma he was picked up by Uncle Shi when she was in the second grade of junior high school. Meeting by name. I don't know what his mentality is. Anyway, Grandma he didn't refuse it herself. If these two people weren't too old, Mei Shui would have suspected that the old man had fallen in love with her grandma. You know, they are all over 70 this year, and the sunset is not that red. Uncle Shi is 73 this year, and Grandma he is also 71 this year. 1111 stopped moving. As soon as he arrived at Shi's house, laughter could be heard in the room. There was a female voice in the laughter, which surprised Mei Shui. You must know that except for Shi Zongguo's wife Ma Wenli, there are no women in the Shi family. This voice sounds very old. You know, Shi Weikan is not young yet, but there has been no news about his marriage. Not only the Shi family is anxious, but many people outside are also anxious. But he himself was not in a hurry at all. This year he is already in his 20s, but he lives his life like a man in his 40s every day. If he hadn't managed the company with Uncle Zhao and the others now and stayed at home every day, he would have been arranged to go on a blind date. Mei Shui curled up her lips. Don't tell me that Uncle Shi will give you a blind date at home today. Mei Shui is such a sharp-minded person, she can figure out the reason at a glance. At this time, Shi Weikan stopped smiling and said, No, sister-in-law, you have to say a few nice things to me later. He really couldn't accept blind dates or anything like that. Not to mention that he has always had someone hidden in his heart, but he just doesn't know if she is okay now. At that time, they originally wanted to meet their parents, but a lot of things happened in Kyoto at that time, and he was picked up by his grandfather and could not even see her for the last time. Of course, she was picked up by her family, and when he looked for her, she had long since disappeared. Over the years, it was one thing that he didn't want to look for her. The most important thing was that he couldn't let go of her. The woman who gave herself to him in her most beautiful years. She is so gentle and weak, and she doesn't know what will happen if her family discovers her affair with him. After the incident in Kyoto, he spent a lot of time looking for her, but unfortunately, he found nothing. There happened to be a little news about her recently. How could he have the intention to go on a blind date? Then you have to tell me if you have a partner, otherwise how will I explain to the old man and Aunt Ma when the time comes? Mei Shui watched the show happily. Sister-in-law, good sister-in-law, please help me. It's not that he doesn't want to say it, but that he can't say it. At least wait until he finds someone. I'm sorry, I can't do anything. Mei Shui shook her head, and then helped Hians take down the things in the car. Hearing the noise of the car outside, Grandma he in the room became anxious. Is Xiaoxiu and the others coming? At first, she came here because she really wanted to get together. But after arriving, she realized that she had been cheated. What kind of family is Shichia? She didn't know if her brain was flooded, but she actually agreed to come over. After arriving, she realized the differences between people. Even though old man Shi and his children and grandchildren were very kind to her, she herself felt very uncomfortable. Especially when the people who came to the door looked at her in a strange way. Grandma he regretted it to death. Maybe, and he, don't worry, I'll help you go out and have a look. Ma Wenli liked this and he very much. Since her mother-in-law left, she has been the only woman in charge of the family. She misses her mother-in-law very much. But her mother-in-law will never come back. When she found out about Aunt He's existence, Ma Wenli didn't even think about it, but her father-in-law's face was too much. Forget it, if she wanted to see something from him, she didn't have the ability. I kept asking them to call them Aunt He, thinking that there would be some good development, but unexpectedly, she turned out to be Aunt. They couldn't call me Aunt, so they kept calling me Aunt He. If the old man is willing, of course they will have no objection. However, after getting along with Aunt He, they knew that it was impossible for the old man to even think about it, because she didn't have the heart. She also has a lot of dislike for the old man. Sometimes watching them quarrel made Shizongwo and his wife feel comfortable. There is nothing I can do about it. I can't say anything about my father, but Aunt He is different. She doesn't save any face for him. It feels so good to hear that. It also makes the couple envious of their son, who has been able to live comfortably for so many years. I have to say that Mr. Shi's descendants are really his kind, and each one has the same temperament as the other. With Ma Wenli's support, Grandma He felt like she had become the old lady's vision. No need, I'm in good health. After saying that, the old lady trotted out the door like a gust of wind. When she saw the people outside, Grandma He exclaimed happily, "My precious great-grandson misses me so much." The old lady smiled and walked towards Xiao and the others. Hians felt that he must have picked it up, otherwise he would never have been seen in Grandma's eyes. "Xiaoxiu, have you missed Grandma?" Letting go of her great-grandson, the old lady looked at her favorite grandson-in-law. Mei Shui felt that Grandma had been stimulated by something and spoke. "Grandma, you can be normal." Mei Shui coughed twice and said with a look of disgust. "Well, Grandma, he has been watching too many TV series recently." "Xiaoxiu, you dislike me." He looked aggrieved. "Grandma, if you are normal, we will take you home later. If this happens again, I think Aunt Ma will like you very much." Mei Shui really disliked it. When she did this, she was still an old lady in her 70s, and she had goosebumps all over the floor. Not only did Mei Shui feel that her grandma couldn't stand it, but even Xiao and others quietly took a few steps away from their wife. "Humph, you're the only one who talks a lot." The old lady found her voice. "Go in quickly, it's windy and cold outside." End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 399. Chapter 399, The Look of Hatred. Ma Wenli smiled happily when she saw the old lady like this. Finally, someone can cure Aunt He. "Xiaoxiu, you don't know that in order to disgust my dad, Aunt He imitates the words of the little TV every day." I almost vomited. Ma Wenli may not be considered a teacher, but her temperament is not inferior to that of the men in this military region. "Aunt Ma, I think you can change the channel and watch it." Mei Shui felt that such a grandma could be left behind. Everyone was chatting and laughing and carrying their things into the house. There is another family in the living room, but they don't recognize Mei Shui. And Aunt Ma obviously had no intention of introducing him. "There is a little girl over there. Was the laughter just now caused by her?" Mei Swinian glanced at it, but what's going on with that woman's eyes? It made Mei Shui feel a little hairy, as if being stared at by something. However, after sensing it and finding that it had no harmful effect, Mei Shui withdrew her gaze. "What's going on?" Mei Shui asked softly in her grandma's ear. Grandma He shook her head. "I don't know, I just came today. She's not the owner, so why does she care so much?" "Then what were you laughing at just now?" Mei Shui felt more and more strange. That woman looked at her in a very strange way, as if she was her enemy. Mei Shui frowned, a little confused. She seemed to have never been in contact with her, right? "I don't know, I wasn't involved." "Didn't you see they were chatting with Shizongguo and the others?" Grandma He didn't know why, but she felt a little resentful towards this family. Shizongguo also noticed the arrival of Hians and the others, and Shizongguo stood up. "Brother Painter, please wait a moment, I have a close junior here." Because the old painter was taken upstairs by Mr. Shi, only Shizongguo received the painter below. "Please." The painting father also stood up and raised his head. Shi Zongguo was not polite to him and walked away directly. "Ans, you are here. If you don't come, the old man will get angry soon." Shi Zongguo walked over with a smile. "Don't mention it, the living room of Shi's family is quite large, and you can host your family here for 2 days. Happy New Year, Uncle Shi, I wish you a Happy New Year." He stood up and bent down. Xiao Peng and the others would not miss such a good opportunity. "Happy New Year, Grandpa Shi, and I wish you good luck." He stretched out his hands. Such a small gesture immediately made Shi Zongguo laugh. "Ha ha, I know, Grandpa has already prepared it." After saying that, he took out 3 red envelopes from his pocket. "Here, one for each person." The New Year greetings started, and a group of people immediately started to have fun. Ma Wenli also prepared red envelopes for the 3 children. After teasing them for a while, she also gave them to them. "If Xiao Weikan can do better, my grandson will be as big as Xiao Peng and the others," Ma Wenli said with envy. Grandma he rolled her eyes at her. "Don't think about it, can his wife compare with my Xiaoxiu?" Grandma he was very confident about Xiaoxiu. "Yes, there is no comparison, no comparison." Ma Wenli also knew how capable Mei Shui was, and if she really wanted to marry a daughter-in-law, she would be really incomparable. "It's good that you know. So, find him a wife now, and then I'll give you a grandson." "Right, how can a grandson compare with her Xiao and the others?" "I did, but with the way he is, people who don't know would think he likes man." She had really given up on her son. "If you dare to like a man, I will break his legs." When Shi Zongguo heard his wife's words, his face immediately dropped and he glared at Shi Weikan. You know what a joke, you are really an old man." Ma Wenli also gave up on her man. After they started chatting and laughing, the atmosphere at the painter's place changed. Hua Kaiyan looked at this group of people, and a little beast was pounding in her heart. She wanted to come out and tear the woman in front of her with her own hands. But Hua Kaiyan's reason stopped him. Mei Shui felt the murderous intention and raised her head, just in time to see Hua Kaiyan who was looking back. Not only did Mei Shui feel it, Hians also noticed it, and Xiao and the others also noticed something was wrong. Hunting close to their mother, their whole body was filled with worry. Mei Shui felt a warmth around her and touched their heads. "It's okay, it's fun as long as that person dared to take action." She didn't mind letting him experience her methods. Hians had a questioning look in his eyes, and Mei Shui shook her head to answer him. The couple's small actions were not noticed by others. Fortunately, the old men also went downstairs quickly. Uncle Shi was very happy when he saw Xiao and the others arriving. "If there are not enough auspicious words today, this red envelope." After saying that, the old man put the red envelope back into his arms. He was obviously teasing Xiao Peng and the others. "By the way, Xiao is more mature than Xiao Cheng and others. You are a swindler, Mrs. Shi, you will have no friends if you do this." Xiao Cheng felt unhappy when he saw him put away the red envelope. "I have many friends. Look, this painting lady is also a good friend of mine." Mr. Shi brought the old painting man to his team. Mr. Hua also laughed. "That's right, I have a good relationship with you, Mrs. Shi. As long as you make him happy today, can Mrs. Hua give you a big red envelope?" I don't know if it was an illusion, but after hearing what he said, Xiao and others frowned. Xiao pulled Xiao Cheng and said, "No need to draw me, old man. My brother is just playing around with Mrs. Shi. He doesn't really want this red envelope." After saying that, Xiao pushed his brothers to the sofa and sat down. "Mrs. Shi, Happy New Year and good health." As soon as Xiao finished speaking, Xiao Peng and Xiao Cheng also said, "Happy New Year, Mrs. Shi, and good health." Less naughty and more serious. Such an atmosphere made Mr. Shi frown. But my friend may have misunderstood Xiao Peng and the others, but what a good man the old man is. "Haha, what are you talking about? My wife has already prepared it for you. Come on, this is a red envelope for you. I hope you will succeed in your studies in the new year." After the three children paid New Year greetings to Mr. Shi, they did not say a word to the old man. This made the painter very unhappy. But for the sake of historians, they didn't say anything, but their faces were very bad. Maybe the atmosphere was too awkward. Shi Weikan stood up and said, "Xiao, Xiaopeng, Xiao Cheng, uncle, can you take you out to play?" It happened that several friends in the compound had returned. Of course the three children had no objection. "Okay. Uncle, are you taking me to see my aunt?" Xiao Cheng felt itchy. The older Xiao Cheng's temperament becomes, the more similar he is to An Liang's. If Xiao Peng hadn't been there to hold him down, outsiders would have suspected Xiao Shui. Hearing Xiao Cheng's words, everyone in the room stared at Shi Weikan. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 400. Chapter 400, Meeting the Cheng Family. Shi Weikan knocked Xiao Cheng on the head hard, lightly. What are you talking about? Where did the ant come from? After that, he pulled Xiao Cheng and ran out. Looking at his escaping figure, Mr. Shi was very dissatisfied and said, "Look at your good son, he's grown up." He was so angry. The great-grandson of the eldest sister's family was about to get a wife, and what about him? Where is the great-grandson? Yes, it's because I didn't educate myself well. Shi Zongguo immediately gave up. At this point, the painter's mind began to change. "Old friend, your grandson doesn't have a girlfriend yet," Mr. Hua asked very directly. "What kind of brain did Mr. Shi have?" He said with a smile, "Who knows, I just saw him like that. I'm afraid he has it." It's one thing for the old man to be happy that his friend has arrived. But he has no intention of selling his grandson. Besides, his grandson is doing well. The reason why he doesn't have a wife now is because he doesn't have a good one. He doesn't think there is anything wrong with his grandson. This topic was quickly dismissed by the old man. Since the Zhao family was also there, and seeing that the old man was going to receive his friends, Hians took Mei Shui with him to the Zhao family. I was very dissatisfied with Mr. Shi, and at this time, the feeling of reuniting my friends was washed away. "You guys have to come over for lunch, don't be tempted by old man Zhao. My family hasn't been so lively in many years." The historian family is different from the Zhao family. The Zhao family has too many people and they are the only son and grandson. Poor Mr. Shi. The Zhao family's status is a little lower than that of the Shi family, and the courtyard they live in is farther out. But it wasn't too far, because Hians had a lot of things to bring, so Hians drove to Zhao's house. He could decide where to eat at noon, but Hians wanted to go home to eat. I lost all my taste after being by that old painting man. Is his family short of money? Snort. Xiaoxiu, are you sure you don't know that woman? Hians asked about this as soon as the car started. Mei Shui shook her head. "No, she doesn't look like a rural person." "How could I know her?" Mei Shui was also a little confused. At this time, Mei Shui was thinking about why she didn't bring Xiaobai out. Xiaobai is getting more and more lazy. He can lie down and never sit down. I wanted to bring it with me when I came here this time, but it didn't want to. He also said that he found the best place to practice for himself. After Mei Shui asked, she regretted it. "Where?" "On the bed." Lazy dog. Thinking about it, besides Xiaoxiu's contact with people in the village, the other people are all people around him, or they are some business people, or families like painters. Xiaoxiu has no place to contact them. Can't figure it out. That woman is just malicious to you, Xiaoxiu. Be more careful in the future. He was not afraid of her being hurt by normal means. Ken. I know Mei Shui didn't pay much attention to this matter, but if she dared to take action, she would not introduce it and let her experience it herself. Mei Xue never thinks that she is a good person, even in this world with more perfect laws. As long as you understand, you should carry Xiaobai when you go out from now on. It's so small and doesn't take up much space, Hians told him with some worry. Think about it, Xiaobai is so good, you can leave everything to it. Well, you can have this. Hians opened his mouth, but he swallowed the words that came to his mouth. Forget it, as long as she is happy. It doesn't matter what a novice is. Shi Weikan felt that his home was too depressing, so he took Xiao and the others directly to the Zhao house, because he knew that brother he and the others would definitely come over soon. It's better to come here early and wait here. It just so happened that he could meet some friends. When Hians brought Mei Xue over, they saw their son playing with Qianziang and Zhao Kai's children in the courtyard. They went out today because it was difficult to bring the Gu family's children, so Xiaopeng and the others suddenly lost their usual noisy thoughts. Fortunately, there are many children here, and they are not very different from each other. When they play, they are like a wild child. Zhao Kai's son is about the same age as Xiao, and they have a lot to talk about when they are together. The others are smaller, but also a little larger than Xiaopeng and Xiaocheng. Qianziang's son is 2 years older than Xiaopeng and others, and Zhao Kai's daughter is about 1 year older than Xiaopeng and others. Don't be too crazy when playing with 4 people. Qianziang's youngest daughter is like a follower, playing behind her brothers and sisters. From time to time, he would say, "Wait for me. You're finally here, come in quickly." The first person to notice Mei Xue's arrival was Qianziang's daughter-in-law Zhong Qiao. She and Mei Xue can be considered good friends. "Hey, I thought you were planning to come over after dinner." The speaker was Sun Shulan, Zhao Kai's daughter-in-law. "Don't make trouble." The smile on Mei Xue's face became more sincere towards her friend. "I see you are happy. It doesn't matter whether I come or not," Mei Xue said in regular tone. "Come here. If you don't come today, it would be strange if the old man and my dad don't get angry and vomit blood." The Zhao family is similar to the Cheng family, and their yards are not far apart. Mr. Zhao is still here. Not to mention Mr. Zhao, Zhao Kai himself can live in this compound, but he will not be so far back. "Come on, sir, where is the old man, where are Uncle Zhao and Aunt Qian?" Mei Xue asked after passing the things in her hands to the two of them. "There is someone in the back room." Zhong Qiao is a real person. She can't tolerate people who say anything. Hearing what she said, sister-in-law Sun pulled her, "Keep your voice down, or you'll be in trouble if that woman hears you." Sister-in-law Sun pointed inside and said softly. Zhong Qiao looked unhappy. "Am I afraid of her? Not to mention that she looked down on her, except for men, who was worthy of being afraid of her?" Looking at Zhong Qiao like this, Mei Xue knew that she was afraid that the people inside would not like her. "Okay, let's not talk about this. Ans and I will go to pay New Year's greetings to the old man, Uncle Zhao. We can't just go in if there is someone inside, right?" Mei Xue took Zhong Qiao's hand and walked inside. Sister-in-law Sun nodded towards Hians. Hians also called someone. In the living room, a middle-aged couple were talking about something, which made the old man look very ugly. "It's not that I don't help, it's that I can't help you. As you know, I've stopped caring about things a long time ago. If he had been in charge, he wouldn't have gone back to his hometown." When the middle-aged man who was sitting heard this, he immediately became excited. "Uncle Zhao, you can't ignore me. My dad just left not long ago, so you can't ignore your brotherhood." Cheng Jianjun was also anxious. Seeing that the day of his departure was getting closer and closer, but he still couldn't find his things, he was anxious. Uncle Zhao patted his father on the back and said with a mocking look on his face, "Brother Cheng, it's not that we don't help. You have also seen that my father is not in good health." "Is this going too far?" Uncle Zhao rarely said, tempered. "Plus, since he took over the company in Kyoto, his temper can be said to be well known in the industry. Brother Zhao, that's not what I meant. As you know, my family is living on the things left by the old man, we can't just let it go. End of this chapter. 80s, The Farmer's Wife is the Boss. Author, Village Girl in City. Chapter 401. Chapter 401, Falling Out. It turned out that the people in the room were none other than Cheng Jianjun and his wife. They had no way out, and since they couldn't find those things, they hid a group of the old man's friends. They thought that if the old man didn't give those things to him, he must still want to give them to Chen Yu. It was true that he left, but his friends were still there. Those things might be in these old immortals. The Zhao family was the first family they visited. What did you do that you forgot? Is Lao Cheng at fault for not giving you the thing? Mr. Zhao took a breath and shouted angrily. This made Mei Suihians, who had just come in, stop in his tracks. And Hians recognized the person there, who was none other than Xiao's biological father. Seeing him like this, Hian suddenly felt at ease. Xiao looked down on such a person. I don't know why, but I feel proud. Old man Cheng Jianjun looked at the old man and had the answer in his mind. I guess my dad has given the things to you. It was not a suspicion, but an affirmation. Uncle Zhao laughed angrily. Let's not talk about whether Mr. Cheng gave the things to his father. Cheng Jianjun was like this. Even if he had, he would not give the things to him. Fart. The old man couldn't stand the anger. Get out of here, get out. After yelling, Mr. Zhao started to cough. Uncle Zhao patted the old man on the back, but he couldn't stop no matter what. Seeing the old man like this, Mei Shui walked over quickly. Uncle Zhao, get out of the way. Before Uncle Zhao could react, Mei Shui pulled away from him and almost made him fall to the ground. Fortunately, Hians caught him. Mei Shui used her inner strength to slap Mr. Zhao on the back, causing him to cough up the phlegm in his lungs. The sound of heavy breathing came and went, but fortunately the old man's expression returned to normal. Seeing the old man vomiting blood, the Cheng family and his wife were frightened, and Mu Yun hid directly behind Cheng Jianjun. You, what are you doing? Cheng Jianjun was frightened. He was afraid that something might happen to Mr. Zhao at this time. If something happens, then, he becomes afraid. Mei Shui glanced at him. If I hadn't been quick, I'm afraid you would have had to pay for the old man's life today, Mei Shui said angrily. The old man was obviously angry when he looked like this, and he was not in good health to begin with. Uncle Zhao also came to his senses and said, Thank you, Xiaoxiu, otherwise. Uncle Zhao was very scared. Let's go. After looking at the old man and finding that he looked better, Uncle Zhao said to Cheng Jianjun. Brother Zhao. Cheng Jianjun did not expect Zhao Aijun to say such words. What do you mean? You are really shameless. You did such a shameless thing, and now you have the nerve to ask us for your original wife's dowry. Do you really think we don't know about it? Aunt Jian endured it for a long time. There is also this woman. Letting her in during the Chinese New Year is a favor to the old man. She really soiled my family's land. Aunt Jian's mouth is no worse than that of Grandma He, otherwise how could the two of them become good friends? Grandma He had always praised Aunt Jian in the early years. Thinking about Mei Shui, she felt a little scared. You are so shameless. You killed your first wife, and you still miss her things. I really don't know how your parents taught you. If my daughter is like this, I will strangle her to death when she is born, Aunt Jian said to her. Mu Yun cursed. Mei Shui looked relieved. She dislikes people who are so pretentious. You. Mu Yun trembled with anger and pointed at Jian Wenyu. It's not your turn to take care of my family's affairs. Yes, it's not my family's turn to take care of your family's affairs, but why are you here? Aunt Jian was furious. I feel that Mr. Cheng did something wrong. If he hadn't ignored it afterwards, it wouldn't be your turn to yell at me now. Aunt Jian looked down upon what Mr. Cheng did. Fortunately, her father-in-law is not like this. Neither Mu Yun nor Cheng Jianjun had the shame to stay here any longer. Cheng Jianjun held his wife's hand. Stop arguing. Then he looked at Mr. Zhao. Uncle Zhao, no matter what, if you take my father's things, please return them to me. After saying that, he quickly pulled the person out and walked out. The noise inside the house alarmed the people outside. When Zhao Kaij came in with a group of people, he happened to meet Cheng Jianjun, who was going out. At this point, Xiao took a step back and hid his figure. He pulled Zhao Kongkong in front of him, and Zhao Kongkong looked confused. After everyone left, everyone walked into the living room. Dad, what's going on? Zhao Kaij looked at his grandfather next to his father and asked. Your grandpa was almost angry to death just now. Uncle Zhao was furious. The Zhao family of the Cheng family is shameless and has the nerve to go around looking for the poor first wife's property. It's really embarrassing, Zhong Qiao said angrily. By now, Mei Shui and Hians were very worried about Xiao. They glanced at him and felt relieved when they saw that he looked calm. The Zhao family's mood was affected by such a commotion. Maybe it's because the New Year atmosphere in this compound is so good that even God can't stand it. After the Cheng family left the Zhao family, they went to several families who were familiar with Mr. Cheng. At first, because of the Chinese New Year, people would greet them with smiles even if they walked in empty-handed. But after talking about the matter, everyone was like the Zhao family, and they just pulled out their faces and trampled them on the ground. This year has left a deep impression on everyone. At the Zhao family, Hians understood Xiao's eyes and asked about the Cheng family. If it had been in the past, they would definitely not talk so much. But now, after telling the scandalous things that Cheng Jianjun and Mu Yun had done, they felt relieved all over. I really don't know why God doesn't accept people like this. I've seen many shameless people, but this is the first time I've seen such a shameless person, and Qian complained. After listening to what the Zhao family said, Xiao's eyes turned red with anger. It turned out that his mother was killed. He will not let them go. Hians and Mei Shui saw Xiao's expression and knew what he was thinking. Hian slowly approached Xiao and patted him on the shoulder. It seemed to be comforting him and encouraging him. Anyway, Xiao finally calmed down. They didn't have lunch at Zhao's house. Instead, the whole Zhao family went to Shi's house. Uncle Shi was very happy and asked for more food. So Zhong Qiao, Sun Shulan, and Mei Shui entered the kitchen. The lunch was quite lively. Grandma He had been out for 2 days and she was worried about having 3 children at home, so she left Shi's house with Hians and the others at noon. Before leaving, Hians pulled Shi Weiken and told him about the little girl who was a painter. However, he did not say that she hated Xiaoxiu, but that she seemed to have a crush on him. Based on his understanding of Shi Weiken, he would look down upon this kind of woman. Double sales have started, monthly tickets are activated. It's the end of the month, don't fret. Grateful. End of this chapter.